Okay, guys. So this week we saw that one of the companies that Dan really likes released their results, their annual results for the year ended December 2021. We are talking about the British American Tobacco, popularly known as BAT. So BAT, as many know, it's in the business, of selling cigarettes.
That's not working.
Don't listen to Dan. So we got their annual report. I think it came out in Thursday, and we are seeing
on Thursday,
and we're seeing
my trivia is
at least Kiingereza unajua.
Oh no. Okay, so
yeah, on Thursday.
Easter.
Sorry.
It's not. Don't attack the messenger.
I don't care. The messenger.
Attack the message.
It's fine. Blame yourself.
And your knowledge.
Enjoy your time.
Okay, guys, back to BAT.
Lack of it.
Okay.
Or therefore the lack of it. So guys, coming back to BAT, we saw impressive results. We saw that their revenue went up by around 3%, slightly increased to around 40 billion. We also saw double-digit growth in terms of PAT, profit after tax, went up by around 18%, and now they have they registered 6.5 billion Kenya shillings in profit. We also saw new developments in terms of their revenue, and the report was talking about a slight decrease in the volumes, the exports going outside the country. And this is critical for me because in episode number 13 we had BAT as our stock of the week. If you want to check out that video, click on the pop-up banner here. You'll see the video.
If you took heed of our advice to buy,
then
you are going to be enjoying some sweet
dividend. Mr. Dividend here
dividend payout
we'll get to the dividend
anyway.
Now, Dan, if you look at the conversation we had in episode 13, we said that 65% of what is produced at the BAT Likoni Road factory goes for exports outside the country. And now that the slight decrease for me is a bit worrying. But then this is because some of their markets outside Kenya have not really opened up, and didn't actually open up a lot in 2021. And I'm thinking of probably Uganda, since most of the restrictions were eased January 2022. But something that really stood out for me in the results is just, and this also is something that we saw with EABL when their results came out. I saw that they paid taxes, cumulative taxes to government was 18 billion Kenya shillings. And there was a double-digit growth in terms of the taxes they paid. Yes, there is attribution to the corporate tax, which was 25, went back to 30, VAT, which was 14, was lifted back to 16. But then there is also the adjustment for inflation of specific excise duties, and this was in October last year. And I'm looking at the profit that BAT has made. BAT has made a profit, PAT, of 6.5 billion. And they've paid taxes worth 18 billion. So this is close to 3 times. And I'm thinking, wow, the taxman here is really... they've paid a lot of tax.
Yeah.
If Mr. Dividend here, if BAT weren't paying any tax, then you guys...
people would be
enjoying,
BAT and
most
crypto,
of that is
same was up.
Most of that is syntax. Easter, what stood out for you in the BAT results?
Most of those are local.
What do you mean local?
Sorry, there's a thought that I was on.
Yes. Actually, you're right, because Crispin Ochola, who's the MD at BAT Kenya, was talking about the fact that the excise duties that they pay in Kenya is actually almost double, triple what they pay in our neighboring countries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, currently BAT is trading at over 3.5. Okay.
I think it was 400 and something. The price of BAT. Yeah. Yes, 400 and something.
Yeah. So again, for Kinakalia who hold such a counter, and even yourself who's vested in this, you're very keen to see, the value drivers for the company, and one of them that stands out mostly is export market, being that over 60% at some point of the revenue is attributable to the export market.
Yeah.
So before you start getting worried about the future performance of this, what the future holds for this company.
Yeah.
Maybe would like to break down what these, export market is very general.
Yeah.
So can you break it down to what countries takes what percentage of these export sales? Then we see what are the prospects for that country.
Actually,
those
a huge chunk of the exports, because the number 2 out of the whole production, the number 2 destination after Kenya, that is, of the productions at Likoni Road, is Somalia and Somaliland combined. Yeah, so that market to the eastern part of Kenya is actually
if these were the results at the time when we were having diplomatic issues in Somalia, I would understand, because things would be very
sure. That's a
shaky
fair
at that
point.
point. You don't know how things might pan out. But that's not the case at this point.
Yeah.
Those issues were sorted. Things are good now.
Yeah.
Trade is continuing like nothing ever happened. So that is, I don't think that's reason enough to, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just trying to give you more confidence that is just a blip. You just happen to have gone down a bit. Then, yeah.
Okay. So Ista, I really admire BAT and how meticulous they are in when it comes to their reporting. Sorry, Dan. So if you look at the time, how quickly they get their results out, they don't delay results. So that's one thing for me. And then if you look at, they've put out a date of when they'll release half-year results for 2022, H1 2022. So they've pointed out that on 20th of July, 20th of July, they'll give results for H1 2022. How many companies can do that? For me, I really admire that. That really stood out for me.
Many companies can do that. How many companies will do that?
Oh, that's a fair point.
Exactly.
So you guys are like a choir. How many companies will do that? So that's what we saw on BAT. Easter, what stood out for you?
Of course. But of course,
dividend
11% dividend yield. My goodness!
Wow. That's rare to come by, especially in this market.
Yes.
How much? It's 53 bob per share.
Yes.
Yeah, the final
3 bob interim.
Yeah, and 50
bob final.
total. Yeah.
So they usually announce the interim, but they don't give it. Then they come and give it out.
No, interim is given earlier, and then the final is given. So the final will be given in.
Do they have the liberty of announcing it, but then still holding? And then they come and consolidate the dividend payments with the final dividend.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think most of the companies that actually, and this is an experience that we've seen over the past 3 years, companies actually just pay their interim. When they announce that this is the dividend they give, probably in half-year results, they announce a date that's 2 or a month later when they just pay out.
Yeah, so basically they already paid out the interim of 3 shillings and 50 cents, and then they'll pay the final dividend on May 24th of this year.
Yeah, and I think that's when they have the AGM. Yeah, on May 24th, that's when they'll be having their AGM. So BAT shareholders, look out for that. But again, now this good results and the good dividend that we are seeing only makes it even tougher to buy BAT, because who's gonna sell?
Yeah,
and most of the people who hold BAT are actually institutional investors. So and they know the good dividend that's coming out of that. So who would want to let go of that? So it's gonna be even harder to buy BAT.
I'm just thinking, but before I pose this question to you guys.
Yeah.
The dividends, are they usually prorated depending on how long you've held the stock?
As long as you're in the for you to get the final dividend, as long as you're in the shareholder register by April 22nd.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about, they've announced the dividend, right? That they're going to issue dividends, and how much it is, right? 11% dividend
Yield.
yield.
Based on current
Very
prices.
good, right? If I decide and go buy that counter right now, before they close the ex dividend rate date, there's an ex dividend rate. That's the date beyond which now you want to, if you're not in the register, you don't get the dividend.
Yes.
So if I buy it between now when they announce and before the ex dividend date, does it mean that I'm going to earn as much as Kalia, who's held this counter for years?
Why not?
What do you mean, why not? Don't you think it's unfair?
Bro, this is capitalism, man. There's nothing like fairness.
Okay, there's usually the concept of the ex-dividend price.
If you are to go the capitalism argument way, the more reason it should be prorated.
But you know what?
You eat what you've hunted.
I don't want to. I don't want to put.
But the assumption is that you factored in the dividend in the price that you've paid for the share.
Because if they announce a dividend, you know, the market is gonna react to that positively. And just as it stands right now, Easter, you want to buy BAT from who? Who wants to sell BAT?
Yeah. So I think the general assumption is just
No, you see, this is not like a typical marketplace where we have to exchange goods, right? I just go to my platform, whichever brokerage platform
Granted.
I'm using. Once I have the money, as long as I have the money for that, for buying, I'll buy.
Yeah.
In my experience, there've never been a situation where my broker is telling me, "Hey, Bri, you have the money, but
for me, Easter, on that, I don't want to put my feet, on the ground, steady. In episode 23, I'm gonna come back with more information on that. I think I need to do some consulting kidogo with my friends at NSE and my friends at CMA to just see how
that's an
that
opportunity to make some good clean money.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but then again, because so in this case, talking about the BAT case, the ex-dividend date is April 22nd April. It's in April.
Yeah.
So basically, if you buy the stock before then, the price has already factored in the fact that you're going to get a dividend, and then ideally after.
That's relative, though.
It's relative. Yeah, it's relative now. Yeah, because market.
So are you still going
is,
to get the 11% yield at current prices? Now that's the big question.
At current, it's actually 11% at current.
At
prices.
current
for someone who
prices.
buys now, it's 11%. Of course, for someone who had bought earlier, maybe earlier last year when you were discussing it, was it in episode 13?
Yeah, episode 13.
We saw how the share price had gone
So it's
down
probably more.
from.
So
it could be
at
less
that
for
market
those
price.
guys. Anyway,
could be even 20.
Yeah. So ideally, in an efficient market, the price on, assuming it's 22nd April, I don't know why, the price on 23rd April should reflect that the shareholders at this point, you're not going to get a dividend if you're buying it now. So the price should have a slight adjustment, being like a day where there's no expectation on the next dividend until when they announce another dividend. Unless you have an expectation on what dividend they're going to pay when they release their half year results, whether they're going to give an interim and how much the interim is.
But look at it this way, right? They announced today that they're going to give a dividend of 53 bob per share. The stock at the moment is 400 shillings, right? The ex-dividend date is in April. That's like a whole month from now. So if I buy the counter now, knowing that if I get into the register right now, I'm going to get some dividends. Yet I'll have held for just what? A few months? A few months. So you guys don't see the opportunity.
There's money to be made in the stock market.
That's what
How
I'm
many
telling
people
you.
do that?
But that's what I'm telling you.
How many people even know that?
The assumption is for someone to sell you the share, knowing that he or she is going to lose out on a dividend, then they're going to factor in that share, the dividend loss or the future income loss into the price that I'm going to sell the share to you.
Kali,
so
I
for me
feel
to
like
share, for me to
sell, you have to sell at
I'd
a high price.
I'd be
You
like,
have to
okay,
factor in the value increase.
if it's now at 468, I'd be like, okay, if you're going to give me 510 bob per share, then
and now that raises the question: is that people who hold BAT know that a dividend is coming? Who would want to sell? And you know your dividend inakuja inabisha hodi.
No, you see, I feel like there's a point of disconnect that we are not on the same page, right?
No,
if I
get your point.
If I have my 40k, right, I can go to my broker.
Absolutely.
Using M-Pesa, deposit my funds, transfer funds from my M-Pesa to this account, then buy.
But then
I'm not dealing with anyone who's going to be like,
but I'm just telling you
there's a dividend coming.
that BAT is one of the most illiquid stocks, illiquid counter
we should try. We should try out this week. We should try.
Let's do it.
Try this week. We see whether there's going to be whether the price, the asking price, for BAT shares, what it's going to be for
No, you know
share.
why I was saying earlier that it is relative. It's 400 at the time of announcement. The next day, the market starts adjusting for the anticipated increase in value that's coming, right? So it's going to be like 410. It's going to increase until the date when they give the dividends.
That's the point.
Yeah.
So exactly, if I buy at 410, I'll still get some money.
See, that's playing
Yeah,
the market.
sure. Why not?
How is it unfair?
There's
How is it unfair?
How is it unfair?
it's an opportunity. There's nothing
because
unfair there.
you have not
It's an
stolen the
opportunity.
shares from anyone.
Yeah, you bought it.
You bought it from someone who was willing to release their shares.
To I thought of it and I was like, surely if it was that easy, anyone, most people could be doing it.
There's
But anyway.
do you know why not everyone is doing it?
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's just the barrier is actually knowledge in the first place. Like, are people aware that such opportunities do exist?
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
again, for me, it's not that. For me, I just feel it doesn't happen that often because guys know that for you to release a share just before dividends means for me to release, like you'll need to
You're
pay me.
forfeiting.
You'll need to pay me a premium
Yeah,
to forfeit that.
for me to lose out.
Yeah, so that's that's why it's not as easy because of the current holders of the stock also know about the dividend, and for them to release
And there are
they're going to ask
institutional
for more.
investors who
for more
are
money. So-
who
and
are
that's the thing.
obsessed with dividends like Dan. So they will never want to leave
You've
that
mentioned
stock.
about institutional investors?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you want to move to the next thing.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So there were some statistics that were released early in the week, and they said that 98%, is it 98 or 97% of the accounts in
CDS
NSE
accounts, yeah.
are inactive.
Yeah. 97% of CDS accounts are inactive.
Only 3% are active.
What counts as inactive?
Like guys are not
They
really using
haven't.
those accounts.
Yeah, they haven't been trading.
Yeah.
So okay,
They just
I think this is
opened
a
an
question
account.
to NSE. Like, after how long does an account get considered inactive?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Probably, but I'm thinking probably people
But
who
still,
opened an
those
account.
statistics
that's
are-
People who opened an account then probably have never traded, and people. Okay, my wild guess would probably be an account that hasn't been active for, let's say, 12 months.
yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just a wild guess.
Jeff would
Could be
know
even more.
whatever he is from.
Anyway, but that again, I think it's more on the NSE.
It is.
to
It is.
to
'Cause
try
you
and get
see,
people to.
of the companies that are traded, I can ask you at any time which companies are traded or listed on the NSE. You're gonna give me a bank or equity or at equity
Safcom.
or Safcom because we know them.
Yeah.
Why do we know them? Because they're active. But these are like less than 20% of what's. Then okay, our stock of the week is one of those that are rarely here.
And
So
and
it's an argument that probably you might want to delete some of these things that are not active.
do you know what?
Because why you? I mean, what was this stock that we talked about at some point? Then the activity on the counter was 100.
Oh, Limuruti.
Limurut.
Yeah.
Why do you need to have that on the bows?
Okay, for me, is that actually, and this is something that I saw and was like, it was a moment of awakening, sort of.
Yeah.
So I saw a tweet this week that if we are really, serious about increasing the participation of retail investors at the bows, we should make stock trading as easy as betting. You know how easy betting was? Like you can
Was
do
or
it
is?
in
Was or is? I
or is.
I love that.
Like you don't need a smartphone.
Yeah.
Okay, you can use the USSD, and then even if it's a smartphone, like simple website or simple app, you just know that it's this and this and this and this, and I place my money here, and it's gonna come like this. So like that simplicity, and I remember I talked about simplicity in last episode when we were talking about the central bank digital currencies. So we should really like make it so easy to trade stocks. You see all these requirements that you need to open a CDS account and all that. So simplicity, make it as easy as it is to bet.
You know, as you're saying that, I just thought of the complexity or simplicity, if you may, or of these two processes, betting and trading in the stock market.
Yeah,
And for some reason, I feel like it's actually
because
they have the
both is
same-
investing.
I think they have the same complexity or one. Okay.
Both are investments.
Betting is not an investment.
Okay.
That's gambling.
And it's a whole.
Okay, actually, okay, no, let me not get into that.
No,
Like, I feel like the complexity. I feel like the complexity is always the same, right? Because when I'm placing a bet, I have to calculate the odds. CG 1 point what? I don't know.
You don't need to calculate. They are there already for you. They've been given for you.
The bookmakers have done that for
how
you.
you're gonna use it, how that information is where the math is, so the complexity is. When you come to the stocks, it's what the price. Do you have the money? And so all the calculation you need to do is what's the commission that you're gonna be charged to make that transaction. So I feel it's more an issue of human psychology than it is complexity or simplicity. Knowing that I stand to earn
Granted.
$100 million, $1 million, right? Then that gives me the drive and aspiration to learn everything it takes for me to just put myself in that position that I can earn that money. The thrill is not as much when it comes to stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had this conversation when information came out that I think around 87 billion had been transacted via Safaricom on betting in terms of stakes for half year of last year, I think from September to March. And we had that whole conversation of how it is different models.
Yeah.
You know, when you're staking this, you know that this will come and it's like this, you know, but then it's not the same case, you know, typically when you go to the bows.